Hello YouTube, this is Joel from Real Talk, and I'm going to be talking about Phase 4 for Marvel and the MCU and the Multiverse saga that's just been revealed by Kevin Feige and by Disney and by Marvel Studios. Shang-Chi was wonderful. It very much feels like an Iron Man self-contained story, an origin story that focuses on the character, on their origin of power, and how they come to gain that power and how they earn that power. And I really feel like Shang-Chi as a character earns his spot in this Marvel Cinematic Universe. I was kind of disappointed with Thor: Love and Thunder. I enjoyed the movie. It was entertaining, but I just kind of felt like the story didn't really going anywhere with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's fine. I mean, this was more of a romantic comedy if I was to look at it with superhero aspects to it. So if you went in that movie kind of expecting this huge, convoluted and crazy stuff going on, I think that was just not going to be the movie for you. Some other low points were Eternals and with Black Widow. And Black Widow, they try to keep it simple, but when you had the aspect of the Taskmaster and the storylines, they were introducing Yelena Belova, the different characters exploring in Russia. I just thought the weakest point was just the climax and the finale. I think it could have been a little bit more clever. In Eternals, I think the problem with Eternals, was just that there was just too much in the story. You basically go into the Celestials in this movie. You also introduce a whole new breed of heroes. You also introduce these new storylines. It just gets a little confusing sometimes, and for Marvel to really focus on the hero in the single story, I think that's whenever they hit their bread and butter. And I think the highest point of that is Spider-Man: No Way Home. I think that was the best point of the cinematic universe of Phase 4 so far, because it's lived up to the multiverse aspect, and it's also been able to keep it to a self-contained story almost with Spider-Man. Whereas I love Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I think it went a little too much out there. So moving on to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I went into this movie with a lot of expectations. I thought that we were going to finally explore the multiverse aspect. We might even get a chance to see a little bit of Loki, maybe a little glimpse into Kang. There was already rumors of the Illuminati, so you knew there were going to be variants. I really enjoyed Wanda's portrayal, and many people that were going into this complaining about the differences between her character a little bit in this and in WandaVision. Different director, different writer, that's going to happen. But I think that her character in this movie, I really loved it. I think there was just a lot of built-in excitement towards this movie, and the plot and the structure of the movie was just not enough to hold it. We had a lot of awesome cameos, we had a lot of awesome moments, and a lot of returns and debuts for other characters. But I think that we just needed to have a cleaner plot, something that would just come a lot better at the end of the movie. I did like Doctor Strange revisiting all these other universes, including his other lives, the possibilities, and I wanted to explore more about that and his origins with Christine, and kind of keep going in that direction, because like I said earlier, I think that if you just keep it down to a self-contained story ultimately, and you just sprinkle on these other stories and aspects to it without changing the full structure of the plot, I think you're able to do really good things with it. So as far as the TV show goes, I love WandaVision. I thought keeping it between Wanda and Vision and dealing with the ramification of his death in Infinity War was great. It was kind of a good reset after all the craziness of Endgame. I think the Falcon Winter Soldier was great because it delivered a good commentary on superheroes living in real world and having superhero gifts being introduced into normal human beings after the events of Endgame. All these people coming back, all these people gaining all these powers, and just dealing with all the stuff that happened in Endgame. This show did a great job just transitioning us from there into the next phases of Marvel. I enjoyed having Tom Hiddleston back as Loki. I thought it was great. Sylvie was fantastic. Classic Loki. All the variants that they brought into the near end of the show was fantastic. The idea of the multiverse being introduced, the introduction of He Remains. We have Hawkeye. Hawkeye, of course, was dealing again with the events of during the time jump and during the blip, and introducing Kate Bishop, played by Haley Steinfeld. She did a great job. And then bringing in Yelena Belova, bringing in the Kingpin. This show kind of did a good job kind of piecing in a lot of the new with a lot of the old. Alright, so Moon Knight Season 1 starring Oscar Isaac. I thought Moon Knight was pretty entertaining. I thought its exploration of the idea of gods, the ideas of being avatars for these gods. I think that was a very unique storyline that Marvel went in. The cast was great. I think the story was decent. We have Miss Marvel played by Iman Vellani. I think for a full season to maintain the audience, I think Miss Marvel did the best job at maintaining it with their characters, because TV shows I think rely more heavily on the character, with this kind of character that has a very bubbly, kind of Tom Holland, very bubbly personality, inserting some more joyfulness, inserting some more of that, that fun aspect to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I had a great time watching it, so I hope they make more shows that are very much like the tone of Miss Marvel. We have She-Hulk that's coming to Disney Plus really the end of August. There's been a lot of rumblings about visual effects and a lot of different complaints and talking and chatter about what Jennifer Walters is ultimately going to look like as She-Hulk. But I also think that this is going to be a good show. I think She-Hulk has a lot of potential. I really like Mark Ruffalo. I think he's a pretty good Hulk. I think those two bouncing off of each other for a couple of episodes will be just enough to get people to really buy into Jennifer Walters as She-Hulk. There's a possibility of a build towards Thunderbolts in this movie, of course, with the connection of the Abomination. There's talks about Valentina looking for him. So there's just a lot of potential, a lot of opportunities to take She-Hulk into the grander MCU franchise. The biggest and final movie of this phase, and that is Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2. This movie is going to be dealing with a lot with the death of Chadwick Boseman, but also building towards new characters and new settings and new worlds and new storylines. There's a lot of rumors about Doctor Doom coming in. There's a lot of rumors about where Namor's origins are being changed. I honestly really like the direction they're taking, giving that character a fresh new approach and giving them a unique setting, a unique culture, and a unique part of the world that really hasn't been explored that much in the MCU. And it goes right back into the God conversation and the Avatar conversation that we've been having. I think there's a huge possibility that we'll see a new Black Panther in this, maybe even two. I'm not sure, but I'm very much looking forward to this movie. Let me know what you guys think about the other projects that have preceded this point, and also leave me in the comment and let me know what is your favorite project so far. If it's not anything before, let me know what in the future phases leave you excited for the MCU. I've been Joel from Real Talk. Have a good one.